You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch. They have licensed agents available 24/7 online or over the phone.
But if it's so easy, you might start thinking everything is easy, even big wave surfing. And it's not. It's actually quite difficult.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance. And you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might lead you to make some questionable purchases, like a 20-foot feather boa. And do you know how hard it is to clean a 20-foot feather boa?
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver.
But when life gets a little easier, it makes you too confident. And you start calling everyone Ace. And you're better than that.
Well, Geico has a 97% customer satisfaction rating and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
Good afternoon from the Real Ghost Stories online studios. I'm Tony Bruschi, coming to you this afternoon with some sad news. We have lost a member of the paranormal community, someone who's fairly well known by many of you. He's been a guest on our program, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. More importantly, a husband, a father, an overall great human being. Christopher Sutton has passed away, and I'm going to read for you now what Julia Sutton has posted on his Facebook page. It says, "Dearest friends, the family of Coyote Chris wishes to let you know he has passed to begin his new journey, spreading light into the darkness in another realm. He received an unexpected diagnosis of lung cancer less than a month ago that was very aggressive. He lived his life to the fullest. We know many wish they would have been able to visit or speak with him. But know he will hear your words still. Take all lessons he taught, grow, share, and walk in the path of light. Love, Miss Coyote and the pups." And with that, we're going to replay for you an interview that I did with Chris last year, a little over a year ago. We were talking about his life, about his accomplishments, his journey, his discoveries, and it's an overall look at the man that he was, in his own words, and played for you in its entirety, part 1 and part 2. This is from our podcast, The Grave Talks. A chance to look back at the life of Christopher Sutton. Today on The Grave Talks, Ways of the Shaman, a conversation with Chris Sutton. Chris Sutton grew up in a very practical, normal-thinking house. The idea of acceptance of spirits or ghosts was viewed as simply nonsense. Later in life, Chris would find himself in a deep depression as a result of his career and being surrounded by constant negativity. He'd find a path out of this depression through therapy and adopting shamanistic traditions as part of his life. On this journey, Chris would find himself being asked to intervene on paranormal investigations, helping to bring peace to families being tormented by spirits. Today, we hear about this journey with Chris Sutton.
You know, like a lot of people have this story from their little kids and stuff like that. And I had some of that sort of thing where I would like catch things out of the corner of my eye, or I was able to like discern things about people. What folks may or may not know is I do practice shamanism, and and this all ties together. But back when I was younger, I would have those moments where it's like, yeah, this is kind of cool. But I grew up as a jock, and I went to my parents were religious per se, but we went to the Unitarian Church, and so there's no really spiritual type of thing. It's all very philosophical and very intellectual type of a framework. And so I was always based pretty much in what we call reality, quotation marks in the air. So I went along like this. I had a very early when I was probably in late grade school, middle school, that type of thing, I was interested in UFOs. So that was my paranormal thing back then, was that sort of thing up until my 20s probably. The big event, the big thing where they got me, so to speak. I was actually in my mid-30s, and I was married, had a child at that time. She was 1. And so my wife, Julia, she was a powwow dancer. And when she was in high school in the Explorers, she loves powwow dancing. And so we're living in this little bitty town in east central Illinois, in a little bitty county. And for some reason, and this is how the universe works time and time again, for some reason, the national powwow, not just any little powwow, the national powwow comes to a county seat. And so my wife says, well, let's go. I want to see this because I used to dance and stuff like that. And I'm like, and I've got no frame of reference for any of this stuff. I mean, I knew about the Native Americans and the historical, and that sort of thing. And I always, felt a lot of empathy for that. So I'm like, okay, let's go check out the cultural stuff. This will be fun. So we went there, and I'm watching the dancing, and they have a big main arena, and it's just beautiful, all the regalia and the different type of dances from the different areas that's going on. And I look off, and there's a livestock barn. There's a county fairground, and so there's a livestock barn over there where these judge cows and things like that. And I'm hearing a different kind of beat coming out of there. So I took my daughter, put her in the stroller, and we wheeled over there. And I went into this barn, and I found out later they were doing a gourd dance, a warrior's dance. And right there and then, actually scared the crap out of me, to be honest, because here my whole world just got rocked because I could feel this other world, this world of spirit, or whatever you want to call it, the next realm over. And I walked out there dazed, and I said, I got to figure this out. And so, bang, I grabbed a book and read about this Sioux medicine man named Black Elk. And I say to the universe, I say to myself, wow, I'd really love to learn about that way of being spiritual. I'm here, I'm ready to get spiritual and stuff, and this is my path. And, a week later or two, I'm reading a magazine from Chicago, and somebody's got a pipe circle. And that's how they, you pray with the pipe in the Lakota tradition. And so I call them up, can I come to your pipe circle? And I said, yeah, come on. And there it starts. So I learned all this shamanic stuff, and which is a healing. And you deal with spirits. You deal with the spirits, the animal spirits, the spirits of the ancestors, or the spirit guides. And so I'm doing this, and then here comes the paranormal part. A friend of mine's son was a DJ at a local community college here, and I'd known this kid since he was born. He's like, he's like a nephew to me. He calls me up and goes, hey, I want to do this all-night radio show here at Lewis and Clark campus. That's the name of the school. And I want to do it on Halloween night. Would you do it with us? Can you do that? Can you do ghost stuff? I'm thinking, well, I mean, I had done a little bit helping people out with that type of thing, but I'd never really gone investigating. I'm like, well, spirits of, spirit guides, spirit animals, spirits, they're all energy, why not? It's probably pretty similar. And so we went out, and we're out all night, and I just winged the whole time. This is before there's any ghost shows. This is back in 1998. Mm-hmm. And I really had no idea what I was doing, but actually I came up with some things, and as I say, you let spirit guide you. And so I came up with some things, and we did really well. I mean, we found some stuff and found a death spot where somebody, we felt like somebody had died there. We found out later that a young lady had committed suicide in this room many years before. And so, yeah, and that's how everything came together. Was back in 1998 when I started actually doing paranormal stuff along with my shamanism.
Let me ask you about your transition into getting into shamanism and then the paranormal stuff, coming from a world of extreme practicality, or as you said earlier, normal, quote unquote.
Yeah.
That must have been an interesting point in time, and probably somewhat confusing. It's sometimes a difficult leap for someone who is very pragmatic, very practical on everything, to accept or to believe in anything beyond, especially what they're brought up with, and what they've accepted. How did you do that? What was it there something in you that made you feel there's got to be more to life than this, or there are universe or a world than this? What made you really be accepting enough, I guess, so to speak, to take some of these things in? Was it the moment where you felt that at the dance that you had walked into? Tell me about that.
The first part is that I always felt that was a little bit different, even though my actions were, the palling around with everybody and, doing things, drinking your buddies and playing football and, doing that kind of stuff, not totally, but, I was a hale and well met type of fellow until I got married, which I probably got married a little later than some people do. But I'd always felt like something was missing, that there was part in it. It was something I couldn't figure it out. But I could feel it. I couldn't articulate it, but I could feel it, that something was not complete. And I tell people today, if you have that feeling, then, let's look into it, because I bet it's something spiritual. And I can look back at times when I got those clues and I just was wasn't prepared to act on. I'm in third grade and our teacher reads us the Hobbit. And as soon as they get to the part where Gandalf's introduced, I can feel that thrill go up my spine. I didn't know why. I said, wow, I just must like, so I've always kind of liked wizards and stuff like that, from that age. And then I'm 20 years old, and this was 1977. So, I'm telling everybody how old I am, which is no problem. But so I'm watching Star Wars, and for the first time. And, get to the part where Obi-Wan tells Luke, you must learn the ways of the Force if you want to come with me to Alderaan. And boom, I get that same thrill. I said, so I know something's missing, but darn it, I cannot put my finger on it. Now, I had lots of, at the time when this happened, mentally and emotionally, I was a wreck. I worked in social services all my life, and I was working with kids. The reason I lived where I lived, because there was an old military school there. They turned into a treatment center for adolescents who'd become sex offenders. Well, now, not only are they all offenders, but they're all victims as well. 97% of every sex offender has been sexually offended against. They've been sexually abused. Sure. And at that time, I didn't know I was empathetic, which means I can feel the emotions of other people. I always knew I was affected by other people, but I didn't know how. But I hear these kids were telling me stories about what had happened and what they'd done, which is horrible enough, at the face value. But then you start I was feeling their feelings, and I actually would get pictures of this crap happening to them. And I was really depressed. I was, clinically a mess. Sure. So I had this urge, okay, I got to do something here. And all of a sudden, here, like I said, I go in this barn and I feel, and the pain went away. And I saw a hope. I felt hope. Wait a minute, this is, I didn't quite know it at the time, but I got that spark. This is your way out. Not that I didn't do other things. I went to therapy. I did a lot of good things for myself. This gave me the energy to say, okay, darn it, I'm not going down this path anymore. I'm going to fight my way out of it. Mm-hmm. And that was, I had a lot of motivation to try something new. And my advice to anybody is don't wait for it for that long. If you feel like you need to do something, do it. Sure. But yeah, it became a matter of almost necessity. Mm-hmm. I think I would have done it anyway, eventually, but it just came to me at really the right time and where I needed something to push me. And that did, and it changed my life, obviously for the better, because I'm still here. What do you think that is, where you had that moment where you felt mm-hmm. like this is the way out? Not in so much in the sense that there was literally a voice talking to you, or maybe there was. I don't know if there's some that's how clear it can be, saying this mm-hmm. is the way out for us, or is it just it's the download of the information of this is the way out. I know this is the path. This is what I need to do. Mm-hmm. How do you view that? Is that the universe telling you
this is the direction that you should be going in? Is there a guide? Is it a ghost? Is it a spirit? Is it what is your opinion on what that is when your life gets to a certain point or a certain direction, and then there is a dramatic shift that just seems to happen? It almost finds you and helps you, gives you that hand, that life, that life vest or whatever to pull you out of what's pulling you down.
All the above. It's I always tell people, I wish I knew all the rules, all the possibilities that could happen, because it's your spirit guides. Now I wasn't aware of them then. I am now, and I knew they were there. Now I look back and I knew they were there then. It took like a universal shift for me. And when you say the universe, it's like, okay, what's that? A bunch of stars and that. No, it's this. I don't know, it's consciousness, whatever you want to call it, because we all have a place in the universe. And in our tradition, our practice now, we believe everybody has medicine, everybody has a gift from God or from Spirit, and that gift starts to wake up. And if it's not being tended to, it's like you're not fulfilling your destiny. You have free will. I mean, there's so many different angles and ways you can go to it. So I'm just kind of talking for me. Mm-hmm. That energy becomes so great that you have to finally say yes to it one way or the other. Otherwise, you start getting sick, like I started getting sick. In certain ways, some people get physically sick. And it's just, but once the spirit will interact with you in a way that you will respond to. I was just talking to a nice lady last night on the phone, and she was telling me her story about how she was seeing this apparition of a young native girl, but it was becoming like more and more scary looking. And we got to talking, and she is of Native American descent. And what we ended up coming up with was that this thing has been trying, the spirit guy's been trying to get her to pay attention to it. And so she wasn't paying attention to it when it was pleasing looking. So she started getting ugly looking. And so that's how it reached out to her. And so we got to talking about it. And so she's going to try now to try to be more accepting of it and start walking more of her path as far as her native. And she's a Navajo. And so we talked about the Navajo way, and she's going to start looking into some of those and start doing that and see if that helps. Mm-hmm. With that. And she felt better just, being able to identify what was going on, it helped her identify that. But, it just depends on the individual and what they need, what they'll respond to. For me, I needed a pretty big display of force, and that's how, hard-headed I was, but also, I'm, rooted in that reality I was talking about. The Toltecs have a nice way of putting it. You call it, that's the tonal world. I mean, that's the world if we consider it the normal. Then the world of the Nawal, which is the world of spirit, is a whole different. They intertwine, but you have to realize they're both there and respond to both. And so the Nawal called very strongly to me, as it did to her, that the world of spirit, the spirit guides, the spirit people. And somebody was trying to reclaim their sister there. It was sister in the Navajo way. And so, it comes to you in different ways, different forms. My wife's going through some stuff now where she's starting to see things. And I've been after her for years. I said, you need to find a teacher, because I can't teach her. We're too close. And so I've got a friend that will teach, and she's been putting it off. And now all this stuff's happening. I just read my shoulders. I told you. And so now she's looking into getting her path together. So it just comes in such different ways, but it's based on the needs of the person, what they'll respond to, is how spirit tends to interact, and will send guides. I've seen people who have had car wreck. I mean, just all sorts of crazy things to get their attention.
Sure.
And you break it down, and all of a sudden, wow, why did this happen? Well, this is why this happened. And it's very ingenious sometimes how people get their attention drawn to something. So it will give you what you need.
where you were in a very low point in life. You were clinically depressed, and you had that moment, and you realized, I want to go down this path. I want to explore this, and eventually the end result after a certain amount of time is you're helping other people.
Yes.
You're practicing shamanistic things. You're going into that world and really being a resource for others. But before obviously you can get to that point to help other people, you needed to help yourself. You needed to get to that point. So take me through that journey a little bit of what you discovered and how you got yourself pulled out of that negative place. What did you learn that then made you go down the path of realizing, okay, I want to help other people through their problems as well?
Yeah. One thing I always tell people right off the bat that come to me with bad things happening to them, I said, well, Spirit puts you through things so you can get through it yourself and conquer your way out of it. And then you can turn around and hold your hand out to the next person who's having that same problem. That's part of the medicine path. And so, all of a sudden I start practicing stuff. I started, some of the things started going to therapy and whatnot, which is very helpful. And I recommend that highly to people. So I start, I get a teacher, and I had a female pipe carrier as my first teacher. Her name was Claudia. And, showed me the ways of the pipe and showed me, sort of got me started on the healing part. Now, in most medicine traditions, everybody says, well, I've got this gift. I need to help other people. No. Your first job is to figure out what the heck it is, what your medicine is, what your skills are. Then you heal yourself. As I said earlier, I've worked in social services for 30 years. I have seen way too many people that are charged out there and help others when the reason they're doing it is because they're hurting and they want to vicariously get rid of their pain through alleviating somebody else's. It does not work. It just messes them up more. I've seen more people get out of business because of that. So as a healer, if you're going to be a healer, if you're any type of, or anything you want to do, you got to go through the pain and then find a way to let it go. I mean, through me, it was through meditation, talking about it, therapy. But then when you're starting your spiritual path, you start learning to work with the powers of the earth, the powers of the sky, the power, the Chinese call it Qi, and I love it. That's a really good word for it. You can say the Force too, because I use that a lot when I'm teaching because people relate to Star Wars.
Sure.
But all this energy, and you work that energy through you, and it powers you up. It makes you feel better, and it gives you that strength to get through these things. And once you're starting to talk about it, and you're learning more about healing stuff, and you're healing yourself. I mean, I let people work on me to try to get myself. I learned by having other people help me out, and so I was shown a lot of kindness and along my path by my teachers. And so it's a super fast process, but it wasn't as bad as you think. It's basically up to you. How quick will you let these things go? Are you gonna, because a lot of times depression is based upon, there's some chemical stuff, and I do believe that, but I can always pick out something in the past. And I had some stuff in the past that needed to work out, some issues I had in relationships and whatnot. And so I'm working on those, but this energy from my medicine path made that go faster for me, and I believed more in myself. Because I tell you what, Tony, you start this stuff out, and you're reality based, whatever, and you start realizing that Spirit has paid this attention to you, and you're feeling like, I've got these gifts. I can do psychic work, I can do healing work, teaching, singing. I sing songs. I have a CD and a whole 9 yards. But it's like, why me? For the longest time, I would fight myself because this can't be me. This can't. I read about people like this in books, not like I'm, anything like those wonderful medicine folks, but I've got some of these same attributes. Why did you pick me to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to realize, it's not about being chosen; it's about just being who you are. And we have such a problem in our culture of just being ourselves because so many people have expectations for us, and we all have a script. Whether it's our mother and our father or our friends or our spouse or our children, they expect you to act in a certain way. And we too oftentimes, or bosses too oftentimes succumb to that. So we become somebody else's something. So you have to relearn. Instead of being my mother's or father's child, I had to be me and not live up to somebody else's expectation anymore. I had to say yes to what was being brought to me, because that was helping me to heal. And we've never met, and I've got a lot of tattoos on my arm, and every one of them has to do with one of these milestones where I said yes. And this is me saying yes is by putting, having somebody actually draw this on my arms, and just to say, that's me telling spirit, yes, I say yes to what you're telling me. I would do the best I can. And so you work through that, and you all of a sudden you don't just believe in yourself more in your spiritual path, but in the rest of other parts of your life, because you're more complete. You're actually being you instead of being somebody else, what somebody else expects you to be. And I've seen people who are alive today and under the assumption that they still have to be their parents' child, and their parents are in the grave.
Sure.
And they're still being controlled by people who no longer walk the earth, because we allow ourselves to be put in this cage of all these cultural and parental and societal expectations. And you have to break free from that and just be yourself. No matter, I certainly never thought that I would be where I was today. I had no inkling, could never have dreamed it before this all happened. And now it's my life. I love it. It completes me. I still work a regular job,
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for people who live in nursing homes, and which is part of my medicine too, and is to help other people. So it works out really nice.
Sure.
But yeah, you have to allow the medicine to help heal you, and you have to work real hard on healing yourself, and to drop these assumptions, drop these things of not being yourself, and be who you are. As Joseph Campbell said, the dark cave we all fear to enter holds our greatest treasure. And that's exactly it.
It's very true. I would say that more times than not, when you talk to someone who is really truly being the authentic version of themselves, if you will, and they're the most comfortable in their own skin, oftentimes they will be saying exactly what you just said, that I had no idea I would have gone down this path. I'd be where I am today doing what I do. This wasn't even on my radar.
Nope.
But then they discover, wait a second, this really is what feels right and what is going to be best for me. In turn, I can be the best version of me for others out there as well, my loved ones, my friends, and those that I don't even know yet. Yeah. Let's talk about how, obviously, when you got through this, you discovered all this about yourself, you got to the place you are, and then you began this journey where you began to help people who were having situations involving the paranormal, involving ghosts, involving activity that they did not know what to do about. How did that begin for you? How did you get into the world of helping people that were having paranormal activity in their lives?
I can remember the first time it happened. This is actually before I did that, because I said before I did that ghost hunt for my son's friend, or my friend's son, and of somebody, a friend guy I was working with, he called me like at 1 o'clock in the morning one time. So what do you want? Because Chris, there's this ghost is singing. They knew I was practicing the shamanism, starting the path and stuff. And so he goes, I can't figure this out. Da da da. And so I said, I said, listen, I forgot what I told him exactly. Ask it to leave you alone and go back to bed, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So he comes, we talked about it, and he's telling me what's going on. And I went to his apartment. I kind of felt around. He had a cat. And I got this feeling. I looked at him. I said, where does this cat stay when you're not home? And he goes, hey, the little bitty bedroom. He goes, well, I block it in that bedroom. I said, I just right there. I could feel a spirit around. And so I get this feeling. I said, listen, this is what I would do. This spirit loves animals. The spirit is not like that you're caging your cat up like that during the day. Try leaving the door open when you're gone. You'll try to, make your apartment cat proof if it's areas where it could mess something up, and see what happens. And sure enough, and he goes, 2 days like this, I feel great. The place feels better. Whatever it is I still feel something there, but it's much more benevolent. He goes, that was it. It didn't like the cat was being put up for the day. And so that's how it starts. Just something just small and innocuous like that.
My mom's going to haunt me
And,
that exact same way, because my mother, when she visits, she's alive, but I swear to God, when she does visit, sometimes it's like, you care about the cat more than all the other human beings, don't you? Because the first thing she does when she walks in, how's the cat? Because I'm allergic to cats. I love cats. I had a cat growing up. I didn't realize till I was an adult that it was the cat that I was allergic to. And my daughter loves the cat, but our cat it lives in the garage. We don't put the cars in the garage. The cat pretty much has free reign. So it's this huge room. So, we take it out and put it on the porch in summer, but we take care of the cat. But my mother is so much, it's too bad the cat can't be in the house. Like, I'm sorry, I talk for a living, so that doesn't work well, but we try and treat the cat as well as we possibly can. But that will be her. She will haunt this house. She'll haunt me forever, I'm sure, doing that exact same thing with the cat. That's funny. So you have these things where it's something as simple as that. I think that sometimes is what people overlook when it comes to hauntings and ghosts, for whatever they want to call it, because I think a lot of times we dig too deep. Television shows, the first thing they're going to go, it's a demon, and it's not.
Every time.
And it's simple. It can be something as simple as that. Someone who is annoyed because you're not letting the cat out or giving the cat enough attention, so they're going to make it known. Fix your relationship with the cat. That's all. Yeah. And we overlook that sometimes these were once people, and a lot of times people are going to keep the same traits and the same personalities that they had in the living when they're dead. They're not necessarily some magical new being with superpowers. They're just over there now. So that's an interesting thing. I know that you've gotten involved in cases that have been much tougher and much more to deal with than simply figuring out, just let the cat out. Why don't you walk us through one of the first things or one of the first cases that you got involved with that you were kind of like, oh my gosh, I think this might be more than what I was expecting, more than just Aunt Sally, coming back, giving a message or hanging out. Tell us about what that was like.
It's not trying to pick one out, because usually I don't get it. I don't rattle very easily, so I take everything pretty calm. So I'm trying to think of something that
maybe not even that you were rattled by, but the others that called you in were pretty rattled by.
Gosh, they all seem to start that way. I would say I did okay. This is kind of one of my favorites. A family just moved in this new subdivision that had just been created, and they were seeing stuff around the house, and it was scaring them. They were getting visions of these beings, ghosts or whatnot, or they would hear things, and they felt, and usually they get a creepy feeling. And I'll tell you what, Tony, I mean, you probably talk to a lot of people. Think about private house detail is that 90% of the time, the demons are drugs, alcohol, violence, and mental health issues. That's normally what the demons are in so many of these cases. And so I know a lot of investigators won't touch them, even touch them anymore. But anyway, so these guys are legit. There's a very nice family. It's the kind you would not. It's when it's the people you would never expect would call you. Those are the ones I kind of prick my ears up. Okay, we probably have something going here then, because this is unusual. And so I get there, and first time I went there, I did a thing around the house, and I'm getting this feeling like it was kind of a weird house anyway. And they had mirrors, weird places. I said I would move this and that. That might help. But the more I moved around, I said there's something here, and it's not very happy. And I felt like there's more than one. And there was trees around the house. One thing I have found in a lot of different places is that Native American spirits tend to hang out around the trees during the day and whatnot, and they'll come out at night. What was happening at night, I think this was going on, and I got talking to the owners, and so they just dug out the subdivision. Now, there's a rule in Illinois where I live that you're supposed to remediate any type of native site or any type of native remains or anything like that you might find, and they're supposed to call in an archaeologist to clean it out and to move it respectfully in the right way. Well, contractors don't always do that. If they catch something, they'll just put it in the back dirt and haul it away, or keep it for themselves, and they don't do what they're supposed to do. When you disturb graves like that, or just areas, even areas where the people lived, Again, I've seen this across 2 or 3 states now, where the native spirits get a little bit pissed about that sort of thing, and so and then they tend to kind of not take it out on the new owners, but they're walking around unhappy, and that translates to seeing things you're scared of and whatnot to the people living there, and having feelings and hearing the noises because they're disturbed. I don't blame them. So I went back. First I said, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to create a medicine wheel." And she created the wife, mom, created a beautiful medicine wheel. I mean, it's just like she looked it up and banged it right there. I said, "Leave food offerings out." And so we did that. And she goes, "It's getting better." I said, "Okay, I'm going to come out. And, people want you to come over and get rid of stuff." And I tell them, if it's not hurting you, I'm not getting rid of nothing. You need to learn how to make nice with it. And so that was kind of my message to them. I said, I can't, this is their land. I can't make them go away, and I don't want to do that. However, I will make, we'll make peace together. And so we went to the house, and we smudged the entire house and, cleansed it and used the salt to seal your work, not to drive them away, to make it more wholesome. But, these people care. These people, we're using agent, I use white sage. Use an ancient method here of not cleansing in a way that's not, because there was some little bit of dark energy. There's a funky shaped house. And so we got rid of that, and we, made it more wholesome. I burned some sweetgrass, which attracted the good spirits. And that's also a gift to the folks. And so I took I did a thing around the whole house. And so I take it inside and outside, and run around the house and sang and talked to them and say, hey, these people like you. And they would say, yes, we're sorry, but they bulldoze through your stuff. We'll be very respectful. We'll thank you. And we'll talk to you, which they have continued to do. And something like this happens to me inevitably. So we get this all done, and it's feeling great. I can feel them out in the trees, and they're appreciative, and the family feels, all this feels so good. And so you want to close when you do these things. And so I made this big thing. Thank you very much, grandmothers and grandfathers, for being so good to these people. They will, in kind, you'll be kind to you and honor you whenever they can. And this is a wonderful day. We're so blessed. It is done. I clap my hands, and I step right back in the pile of dog crap. And so that's, the coyote part of me comes out, and I got to do something stupid. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not about going to, I've gone head to head against stuff because I felt nasty things before, and I'm not scared of that sort of thing if I think people are threatened. But otherwise, I try just, let's make peace.
Sure.
Let's work this out, and we can all live together. Spirits can live with the people, the corporeal people, and it usually works out pretty well. People feel better. They acknowledge them, and they feel good, and they feel like the spirits are approve of them and like them, and so it's it works. It usually works out very well. Sometimes you get into a thing. I only had this happen in the house once or twice, where I've kind of cornered something that wants to be nasty, and I'm not cross you over. I'm not going to do that kind of stuff. Where let's see. I'm trying to think of a way to explain this, but I get my energy up, and I don't like attack, but I'm like, I'm letting you know, I'm letting the spirit know, listen, this is not going to work. You cannot bother these people. You can't, we try to reason with you. We need you out of the house. And so I just, we do the smudging, only with a purpose this time of getting it to leave. And then again, I'm saying you can't cross. I'm not telling you to cross over. I don't think you can cross things over. I really don't think so. I've heard people claim that, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you got, you don't have to leave, but you can't stay here.
Sure.
And so then it's more of a purpose of, I'm pushing you out. I'm not attacking you. I'm not trying to destroy you, because I can't destroy you, but I can push you out. And that's what I do in this. And then you start at the bottom, like in the basement, you work your way up in a circle, waterway or some way, whichever way it works for you. Sealing as you go, because you want to seal your work as you go, because you're pushing it. You don't want it doubling back on you. So you're coming in, you're smudging, putting some white candlelight in there for the live spirit, and then sealing it with some sea salt or black salt as you go out the door. And then you leave a window open up at the top floor, wherever, attic, whatnot, because when it goes out, you don't want it taking the window frame. I've heard stories of that actually happening, of and somebody doing that to get rid of a spirit, and it took the whole window out. So you want to give them a way out so it doesn't destroy anything. I've seen windows cracked and stuff because of that stuff. But, it's just it's a forceful way of saying, you got to go, but that's not an attack. It's just like it's a push, and you got to go.
It's almost like fogging out a home for bugs in a certain way. Is it always a foolproof method? Is there always a way where the living and their request and their intent will win out over the spirit on the other side when they go through something like this? Or does the spirit have the right to say, no, I know you want peace. I know you want me out, but I don't want out and I don't want peace. So you can try and eradicate me all you want with all the salt and all the rituals and all the things you are going to try and do. Screw you, I'm staying. I mean, does it depend on the type of spirit you're dealing with that has a power like that? Or does that exist? Does the living ultimately have the upper hand no matter what?
I think that power does exist. I have seen it happen where they'll leave when I'm there, and then they'll come back when you're gone. That's why I always teach people how to do this stuff. I don't just do it.
Sure.
I teach them how to do it, and hopefully. But I have certainly read cases and seen cases and talked to a lot of people where that's happened. Sometimes you got to get a team of things. Sometimes you got to do some sealing work on the outside. But are there things more powerful for me? You better believe it. I've felt them. I haven't had to go against them, but I felt them. I know they're there. And there are some powerful things in nature, and there's powerful things in spirit. And I don't believe in demons per se. I believe the words, one is overused, two, it transfers too much power.
Yeah.
Because people get that image of the pits and hell and all that stuff, and so fear takes too much of a reign in that, and so it gives the being more power. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is strictly opinion-based, and I always love to hear everyone's perspective on it from where they're coming from. I guess my question with that would be, because a lot of times you kind of have the ghost family tree, and it's ever expanding. I have more questions than answers, the more people I talk to. But you kind of, on a very base level, you have ghosts of the living, who, and then you can have every personality type there, from the kindest, sweetest person in the world to horrible dictators who murdered millions of people, and they can all be spirits, and that horrible dictator type person could easily come across as a demon, because in life they pretty much were a demon, but they were once a living, breathing human being. And then you have
they'll say demon. I mean, it's like, demon. Well, how do I know you're telling me the truth?
Exactly.
Because I don't know. It's like, I don't think so.
And then a lot of times you'll have people jump in down the road of, and then there's angels of the people who never walked the earth but are there to help. And then you'll have the demon category where they never walked the earth and they're there to destroy and just cause a headache. With your belief system, and you said you don't like to use the word demon, how does that work with you? What's your thought process there? Are all the spirits, all the things that we're interacting with on the other side, were they all once here as people who have passed? Or are there other entities and other things out there that are conscious, that are able to manipulate and communicate, that are something else?
I believe that. I believe that not every spirit you come across is the ghost of a former human being. And it's because I've experienced it. I mean, and I usually get it in a way that they're either benign or they're just powerful. They just don't care to, think to mess with things. Or they tend to be somewhat helpful. But all these elemental spirits, and you go back and you look at some of the folklore from Europe and other countries, you talk about the little people, the Fae, and all this kind of stuff. These aren't people. And people have been experiencing these types of things for hundreds of thousands of years. And so you have these elementals or these beings that are not human. They're something else. There's some other kind of construct, be it of nature or whatever. I'm not sure. Again, I get to the point where I don't know exactly what the rules are and how these things, with this. I've encountered them. I was doing and there's this place down in Missouri I went to. It's called Valley Mines. And it had the second oldest house west of the Mississippi. There was a French mining colony town, is what it was back in the day. And the house had been built in 1749. And so we'd gone there to do an event and get some people together and go investigate all this stuff. And so we go and we get there, and there's a bunch of cabins across the road. And so we were going to the various cabins, and we were going to do the old house last. And we came across Wainwright's cabin, and it had been built in 1850 or something like that, still there. So we go in there, and I had another team. I have a team. I work with other teams and whatnot. There's less drama that way, but I have found. So we were all in there, and they had a medium with them, and so we're all in there. We're in there too, and every place we've gone to is very active. All the stuff lit up. You could feel the spirits. Walked in this place, everything went dead. And Melissa, the lady knowing lady who's the medium, she looks at me and goes, "Chris," I say, "Yeah." But they don't like you, so they're not going to come out. Now that does happen occasionally because, like I talked before about getting spirits to kind of muscling up energy-wise to get the spirit to leave. They can feel that, and they're somewhat timid around me, or they just don't like me because who's this jerk who thinks he can do stuff like that. So every once in a while I have to walk out. I have to excuse myself and walk out, and things start working out. So at this place, it's out in this valley. And it was, it's surrounded by trees and things like that. And this little clearing was where the town part was. And I'm looking also, I see little lights and things like that in the grass. So I thought, it's dew or whatnot, or fireflies, but it's like awfully white to be a firefly. So I went down, so I walked over towards it, and then the lights were seated. I said, well, that's odd, because I reached the grass. There was no dew in the grass. It was very dry. And I walked back, and they came back out. They advanced again. So every time I play a little game with them, they go back and forth. You can kind of see these little bitty twinkly lights in the back of the woods. This huge red light, just I thought it was tail lights of a car, and I thought later there's no road back there. It was what some people call a spook light. But it's these elemental powers at work there, and you can just feel it. It's a different kind of energy altogether. And I said, well, this is kind of cool. And I'd always kind of believed in it, but I'd never really had a really big experience with it. I said, now I'm seeing all this stuff firsthand. And they intermingle well with the native spirits I've found since then. And so I brought it back. A couple people looked in and said, wow, that's really cool. I said, yeah, it's kind of mucked. It was cool. I somehow, put my data bank to work on later, and went on with the event and ended up the big cabin and whatnot. And that was fun. So then I said, let's try something. I said, I've got everybody in a circle. I got my drum. I always take my drum with me wherever I go. And I sang a couple songs. We talked to the spirits. We directly said, hey, spirits of this land, we know, your grandmas and grandfathers, we thank you for watching us. And we really enjoyed being here, and started just, make it nice to them. That's what you do when you're in somebody else's land. And so we sang a couple more songs, and all of a sudden the trees started swaying when there was no wind. And I thought, good Lord. And you could, and people went to the edge of the trees and stuff, their little things. And the little lights are going off on the K2s and everything. And they got some EVPs of whispering and things like that. And it's like, whoa, that is a power greater than a regular, which we call ghost. Mm-hmm. So those are the elemental powers at work. And since then I've had some other experiences with them. It's pretty neat.
When you have to go head to head with something dark that was not human, is it a whole different set of rules for dealing with something like that versus dealing with something that was living, that would understand, basic human to human communication?
I find out they usually understand.
Okay.
Right? That's why I've not had a conversation. I cannot say that.
Sure.
But it's more of an energy, like energy to energy, that is like mind to mind. And so, I don't sound like I'm bragging, but I can build my energy up pretty good. And that's what I do when I feel other people are in danger around me. Because I see, if I'm investigating with people, or ask people to come out with me, then it's my job to make sure they're safe. And so you feel these, like this dark, I've had it happen before at a couple places where you feel this dark entity come in, and it's not human. You can just feel it. It's a whole different feeling. And it's usually they're just curious. But there have been times when it feels threatening, and so I'm like, okay, first you get everybody the hell out if you can. But it is a different type of, at the end of the day, it's still, am I strong enough to keep it from doing whatever it wants to do? And it may just be benign. It just happens to have that bad feeling to it.
Sure.
But it's like, it's a total different, there's not that give and take mentally. It's feeling to feeling, power to power. And a lot of times they come in and it's like, okay, I just hope, and they'll keep their distance. And I might say, if somebody's with me, hey, say, be awake over here, get your energy up. And that seems to do the trick. But I've never been attacked frontally or anything like that. I've been grabbed. I've had a rock thrown at me a couple times. Been hit with a pebble once. And to me, it's more mischievous, but you can just feel it. Yeah. And I think to myself, it's like, okay, just get all your energy up, and it'll want to come play with you, and you stay away from it. And that seems to keep their distance. Now, I have talked to other people who've encountered some pretty nasty things. So far, I've been lucky not to have gotten in over my head. But I always tell people that could happen because that's what I do, and so I go into these situations, and so who knows what could happen sometime. But yeah, it's a whole different feeling, Tony. It's it's one of those things that's hard to explain. It's hard to say. You just know it when you feel it.
Sure.
It's something. It almost has to be experiential. I couldn't put it on a chalkboard. I mean, I could tell you and say you will feel a strong energy. Now, if you're completely oblivious to that thing, you might not feel it. You might just feel uneasy. Sometimes you walk in someplace, you feel uneasy. That could be your response, your body's response to it.
Yeah.
But they generally, if you're open to that sort of thing, they make a pretty good impression on you in that way. So,
let me ask you this. Earlier, you had talked about graves being disturbed and then trying to make peace. When a grave is disturbed, the assumption I think everyone will jump to is, well, it must be the spirit of the person whose grave that is now acting out, that is upset. Is that always the case, though? Is it always that individual whose grave was disturbed that's returning to let you know, I'm angry about this? Or is it more something of the area, something of kind of the rules of the game of you don't disturb a grave? Right. There's other watchmen out here that are going to let you know on the other side of, that wasn't cool what you just did.
I think it can be both. I think it's more like what you're saying about something else is there, because we'd be neck deep in freaking ghosts if everybody was still hanging around or coming back and forth. Now there's a whole different area there of coming back and forth, the portals, and that's a whole new ball game there, and how that supposedly works. But I think it's just something around that feels that, I think some spirits remain behind to protect areas. I don't know why, but they seem to. But yeah, I think especially a lot of the native cases, it's just native spirits around that, are desecrating, but it could be anybody if you intentionally desecrate a grave. And because as human beings, we put so much energy into that, our loved one's been buried there. So we leave all that energy of this, now the body's supposed to be interred and safe and it's in God's hands, and somebody comes around with a bulldozer or whatnot and roots it up. And so it could get a lot of, it gets reactions out of living people that aren't related to those folks. You see all types of, I get pretty upset when I find out graves are being desecrated. Yeah. And I will let people know that. But I think too, I think it's probably more likely it's just the spirit that's around. But I could see it because some spirits are tied to this earth. They won't move on, apparently. And so they're going to, or they're in a, how in life we get fixated about something and just will not let it go, even though you should. For some people, it's an ex-wife or an ex-husband or somebody's mother or something, a boss who fired them, or they fixate on that. And usually after time, we say, okay, well, it's nothing I can do about it now. Let's just move on. Some people don't move on. Their whole lives they're dedicated to focusing on this negative event. And so I imagine same things happen. Some people, they say that's why spirits remain behind. Whether you call it unfinished business or what, if they're so fixated, they won't move on because it's like, okay, this is where my body's at, so I'm going to stay right here. They're so attached to their body, and they don't move on. Theoretically, that's possible. So, but I think it's more likely to be a spirit that's there and like, oh, okay, this isn't a good thing. Sure. And they'll start acting up.
So often when individuals in their homes or their property, whatever it may be, have something unexplained going on, obviously the natural reaction, because it's become a normal thing with popular culture and all of the ghost shows is now, well, let's call the paranormal investigation team to come on out here and let's have them answer the question or eradicate or whatever their idea is of what they think should be happening to tamper down whatever uncomfortable activity is happening. That's the road that they go to. If you could say one thing to individuals out there who have something going on that may not be, to the level of, we need a full investigation and we need, exorcisms or whatever out there to calm things down, to make peace, if there is in fact something going on at someone's home. Would you say that there's sometimes just a very simple answer that you don't need to get a bunch of people involved? If you just followed this simple best practices, here's how you could find peace on your own. What would your message be to that?
First is kind of step away from the situation for a second and look over the whole house, what could be causing noises. Kind of check that stuff first. People want to just jump to, so I knew some people that they heard scratching and they had a trailer, heard scratching and stuff like that and thought demons were trying to get in their trailer. Well, you take a look and they had mice or something underneath in the skirting there. They were scratching on that. That's what was causing the noise. Mm-hmm. And so take a look at all that stuff first because, like you said, the airwaves are saturated with ghost shows right now on the Travel Channel and one of the other ones. And God, just trotting out show after show. It's incredible. But, everybody jumps to that conclusion. Find out take a good look around your house and see maybe this is making the noise. Try to replicate what you think you're hearing. Go through that route first. Make sure it's nothing else. Calm down, take a step back and take a good look at what is physical that could be causing the issue. Now, a lot of times it's like, it just comes to something as simple as say, I will come out and I'll tell people, just say good morning to it. If you feel it, say, hey, good morning, how you doing? Or, thank you for being here. Or if they're being a pill, say, just stop, you take control of your own house and say with conviction, knock it off. I'm trying to do something. It can be that simple. You always start with the kindness first and say, hey, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. What can I do to help you today? Or, or just, or I'll have to sit you out a little food here every once in a while. And, you might not find the food gone, but the offering itself is very important that you're showing that you get respect and courtesy. But you can also, too, like I said, be stern with it. Say, hey, this is my house. Maybe you used to live here. I don't know. But, we don't mind having you around, but you got to behave while I'm, doing this or leave me alone. There's a lot of people who are budding empaths or mediums that get bugged by spirits because the spirits think they can talk to them and they can't do it yet. Or maybe never will. They may never want to say yes to that, which I certainly understand that. But you have to lay down boundaries like you would with your children or anybody else, any other house guest you have. Come in my house and tear up my furniture or move stuff around. No, leave stuff alone. And that can be helpful as well. Or if your house is cluttered, unclutter it. Make a good flow of energy going through your house, and that can make things a lot better. I went to a house one time to help this guy out, and they were hoarders. Nobody had to have bugs too. I had to call Mrs. Coyote to come down and meet me at the basement with a full set of clothes and get this other stuff into the wash and debug my bags and stuff like that I carry with me. So that's another thing. Just declutter, make your house a brighter, more wholesome place. Sometimes I've seen a lot of cases where people are in emotional crisis through many different reasons, and the ghosts show up for the show. There was a ghost like that at my in-laws' house that would show up because they would get in fights and stuff sometimes. They show up for the show. So, live a quieter, calmer life, and so they don't get any feed. They don't either feed off or they enjoy it, whichever. Some spirits seem to enjoy that stuff, and so they'll come hang around. Do things to improve your life that way, and that can also be helpful. Again, if that doesn't work, then you could. I wouldn't call a whole team, and I'd ask one person to come over and have them do an evaluation before they come tromping around with all their stuff. But yeah, you can light a candle. Some people like to pray to the angels. Cool, or ask your spirit guides to come in. Everybody's got spirit guides. To ask your spirit guide, you haven't met them, get to come in and say, hey, please help me, or Angel Uriel, Archangel Uriel, or whatever your belief is. That's cool. Bring that positive energy into your life, and that is also helpful. Without calling, the Ghostbusters out to come to your house and do all their stuff. So yeah, there's all sorts of things. But a lot of it's just stand up and say, hey, I'm not putting up with this. And here's some sage. You can smudge your house too. That's anything to make it more wholesome can be helpful.
That wraps up part 2 of our conversation with Chris Sutton. A big thank you to him for joining us on the program today. Until next time, for the Grave Talks, I'm Tony Bruschi. Thank you for being a gravekeeper and supporting the Grave Talks.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
When you get Xfinity Internet, Flex is included free, and finding what to watch on TV is now as easy as popcorn. This is a way better way to watch.
Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to get a great offer on internet and add Flex for free. Restrictions apply.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
Dunkin' is putting a whole new spin on pumpkin at Dunkin' with our new Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew. Smooth, bold cold brew topped with velvety pumpkin cream cold foam made with cinnamon and nutmeg spices. And there's more pumpkin for you to love, like the delicious fall classic, our Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte. Rich espresso topped with whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and cinnamon sugar. That's how we pumpkin at Dunkin'. Sip into the fall season with the $3 medium Pumpkin Cream Cold Brew or Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply. Valid on Pumpkin Spice Signature Latte only in all cold foam cold brew.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
You might have noticed a change in your neighborhood lately. Yep, Sprint stores are now T-Mobile stores. Now that Sprint is T-Mobile, you get more coverage, value, and benefits than ever before. We've invested billions to bring our 5G from big cities to small towns across America. And great coverage is just the start. From high-speed mobile hotspot data to weekly deals and giveaways, our customers get tons of great benefits. Head to your new T-Mobile store to learn more.
Qualifying service and capable device required. Coverage not available in some areas. Some uses may require certain plan or features. See T-Mobile.com.
Buying a home can feel like navigating uncharted waters. Redfin agents can help. They'll answer your questions with honest advice so you know exactly what you're getting into. They'll also help you tour as many homes as you want and show you what it takes to make a winning offer. With a Redfin agent on your side, you can sail straight to your dream home. Local expertise from Redfin. That's real estate done right. Tour subject to property and agent availability. Virginia Office Falls Church, VA, 844-759-7732.
Dunkin' is putting a whole new spin on pumpkin at Dunkin' with our new pumpkin cream cold brew. Smooth, bold cold brew topped with velvety pumpkin cream cold foam made with cinnamon and nutmeg spices. And there's more pumpkin for you to love, like the delicious fall classic, our pumpkin spice signature latte. Rich espresso topped with whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and cinnamon sugar. That's how we pumpkin at Dunkin'. Sip into the fall season with the $3 medium pumpkin cream cold brew or pumpkin spice signature latte. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply. Valid on pumpkin spice signature latte only in all cold foam cold brew. Dunkin' is putting a whole new spin on pumpkin at Dunkin' with our new pumpkin cream cold brew. Smooth, bold cold brew topped with velvety pumpkin cream cold foam made with cinnamon and nutmeg spices. And there's more pumpkin for you to love, like the delicious fall classic, our pumpkin spice signature latte. Rich espresso topped with whipped cream, caramel drizzle, and cinnamon sugar. That's how we pumpkin at Dunkin'. Sip into the fall season with the $3 medium pumpkin cream cold brew or pumpkin spice signature latte. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply. Valid on pumpkin spice signature latte only in all cold foam cold brew.